So welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living and our wonderful Sunday service. So glad you're all with us. And I am also going to get us live on Facebook. So everyone is well?
Yes. Thank you.
How are you doing, Betty?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
Good.
On the 9th Tuesday is when Dad's ashes are going to be buried.
Right. I haven't responded to your email yet, but I will. I
Okay,
think I will be able to make that.
great. And the catamaran sail after that.
That does look, yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. So let's see, we are live, I believe. Did that come up and say we're live? Yes, it did. So we are live with all our Facebook people. And I am gonna kick us off with some music. If I can get it up here, which I'm sure I can. This is the little Karen Drucker this morning, and it's just sound, so there's no video. So I'm just going to share my computer sound with you to kick us off. Might help if I actually turn the music on.
These times are troubling me, so much I can hardly see through the walls keeping us apart. You got your views and I got mine, but we're together in this moment in time. Hope you can hear me with your heart. I'm not trying to push you away, but I've got something I've got to say. I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for humanity and the good of all. I stand for hope, I stand for faith, I stand for freedom and the good of all. I stand, I stand, I stand. Would you stand with me? I stand, I stand, I stand. Could you stand with me? When we don't understand, we turn away instead of learning that there could be another way. Can we agree to disagree? We may never see things eye to eye, but we can hold on to the love between you and I. It's the only way we'll survive. And I'm not trying to push you away, but I got something I've got to say. I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for humanity and the good of all. I stand for hope, I stand for faith, I stand for freedom and the good of all. I stand, I stand, I stand. Would you stand with me? I stand, I stand, I stand. Oh, could you stand with
Woo-hoo. We're gonna stand together. We always do. I just thought that was a really inclusive song, so I thought I'd play that today. And now I'm going to invite our practitioner of the day, Ralane, Clarke, to pray with us and say whatever she'd like.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, so in the spirit of inclusivity, we're all feeling this connection and oneness. Let us just pray. Let us feel the oneness of God in a beautiful morning wherever you guys are and where I am. Spirit is really flowing in and of and through me and in and of and through each and every one of you. And it's so wonderful to be together this morning with so much love and connection and interconnection. And I just know that our consciousness continues to be rising to beautiful levels of peace and love and compassion and joy and happiness and friendship and just connection. And I'm so grateful for the music and Reverend Michelle and each and every one of you, Marcia and Yvonne and Lisa and Rob and Betty and Nan and Jim, who's around listening somewhere, and myself. And so we just know that this is good and very good. I'm so grateful. Oh, it's wonderful. And so there's such a shifting in consciousness that's occurring and continuing to occur to receive all the goodness of God, all our answered prayers. I release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is so. We simply say, and so it is.
So it is.
So I was thinking about what Reverend Michelle is going to be talking about today, and what came to mind for me was Kuan Yin. And I really love Kuan Yin, and she means a lot to me. She's a real celestial, mystical being, and her presence, I believe, is still reverberating throughout our world. And when she wasn't always Kuan Yin, the story goes. She was Miao Shan, and she didn't have the best of fathers. He was kind of a angry man, and he wanted to marry her off. And she didn't really want to go that route. She was a very spiritual little girl, and she used to like to go out into the forest, and all the animals would come around her, all the wild animals, and she'd sing to them and walk in the forest and just be with spirit. And a lot of the injured animals would come to her. And as the story goes, that a wild boar came and he had a broken leg, and she knew what herbs and things to wrap the leg in to heal his leg with palm leaves and other things. So she fell asleep in the forest with the boar sleeping on her, and he had his little leg on her lap and he was snoring quite loudly. And just a lot of beautiful stories like that. And then she became, this mystical celestial being, goddess, Kuan Yin. And when she got older, and I think what's really interesting too about her, she's the goddess of compassion. And originally she was considered a male Buddha. And then eventually they decided she was a female Buddha, the first female Buddha. And yet some people say she's a combination of male and female. And I like that the best, because to me, I think with compassion, it's wonderful to have the male and the female qualities together as one. And what I believe is that Kuan Yin is in each and every one of us. And as we raise our consciousness levels and work on ourselves, which is a lifelong endeavor, that we are able to be that light of compassion, be that love, be that connection to help others. And as a practitioner, I always felt drawn to Kuan Yin because I really feel it fits so well with caring for others and having compassion and loving kindness. And when I was going to talk about Kuan Yin, I pulled a Louise Hay card, and the card I got was, I practice loving kindness toward everyone, including myself. And that was a good card to pick. So You know, Kuan Yin is a beautiful being, you know, that just radiates such a higher bar for all of us to be in this lifetime. And yet, I think it's really, really possible for each and every one of us to be that light as well, to be that compassionate light, to love others. And one of my favorite books is called Becoming Kuan Yin, and it's by Stephen Levine. And it's not a typical book, it's a very mystical book about Kuan Yin. But I just wanted to read the last words in his book because it really ties in with, I believe, what Reverend Michelle's going to talk about. Kuan Yin's presence is the abode of compassion in which we live, the deep satisfaction of generosity and gratitude, loving kindness and sympathetic joy, forgiveness, patience, mercy, and a lifetime commitment to self-discovery and the well-being of others. So it is.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that. I don't actually know that much about Kuan Yin. I'm going to have to dive into that. Ralane, thank you for the invitation.
Welcome.
Would you like to read June's after?
Sorry, I was into the feeling of Kuan Yin. All right, I think this is June, yes. I am happy and complete today and forever. Within me is that which is perfect and complete.
It is.
It is the spirit of all life, truth, and action. I am happy in the certain knowledge of the inner light, for life is within me now, and I am happy and complete. And that's Ernest Holmes.
Oh, our dear Ernest. So I have a song by Michael Gott that I was sort of on the fence, but I think it fits into what I'm going to be speaking about today. So I'm going to play it for you. It's not a video, it's just music.
Have you ever found yourself lost and set adrift, wandering through your life with no direction? Well, I have. And in this time when you were lost, did you ever find the strength to reach out to somebody who could help you? Well, I have, thank God I have. I found a teacher and a friend who helped me on my way. She lifted me into the light, and gently she would say, do you see, you are more than you believe yourself to be? Do you know there's a power in your head? There is nothing in this world to keep you from your destiny. You are not blind, you are not bound, no, you are free. Do you see? Have you ever known the joy of returning to yourself, awakening to life after the darkness? I have. And when you were restored, have you ever turned around and helped someone who needed strength and guidance? have, yes, I have. I became the teacher and the friend to someone who could not see. I have passed along the light and love my teacher gave to me. And I said, do you see? You are more than you believe yourself to be. Do you know there's a power in your hand? And there is nothing in this world to keep you from your destiny. You are not blind, you are not bound, no, you are free. Have you ever had the chance to say some word of thanks to this one who has given so much to you? Well, I have, right now, I have. Thank you. You have given me your love. You have shared with me your light. You have given me your clarity of sight. You are my partner, teacher, guide, and friend. A beautiful friend. This is who you are. This is what you mean to me. Do you see?
I shared that because we're all teachers and students at different times in our life. We're all the one who gets and receives the juicy goodness from someone else. And we're also the one who turns around and gives it back. And that's really what I'm going to talk a lot about today. So I thought that was a perfect song to play. And Michael Gott has such a lovely voice. he's a joy to hear and to listen to. So that's why I really chose that song today. So I just want to say good morning again to all the friends of One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And as always, I want to say that however you're connecting with our community in real time or replay, welcome. And we want to welcome summer. Summer is definitely here. Let's see, summer solstice was the 20th, so this past Thursday for all of us in the Northern Hemisphere. And as you probably know, summer solstice marks that point when one of the Earth's poles, where we are right now, the northern, is at its maximum tilt towards the sun. And that happens for us in June, and then in the Southern Hemisphere, it happens in December. And summer solstice isn't really kind of a widely noted event in our modern culture. You know, we've got the advantages of electricity and other shiny things that catch our attention. So we really have to make a conscious effort, a conscious choice to notice what's happening in the natural world around us. But really, you know, for most of human history, what was going on in the natural world was kind of a big deal. And, you know, personally, I love my modern conveniences, and I'm very grateful for technology and the things that it affords us, like being an online community, for example. But I also think it's really good to stay connected to what's happening in the natural world around us. It kind of grounds us in our sense of oneness with life. Just being immersed in nature, whatever the environment, whether we're looking at the starry sky, looking up at the cosmos, or walking in the forest, or swimming in the ocean, or being in the desert, whatever. If we're present, and well, this is true for me, I assume it's true for you, that when we're just present in nature, we can feel that life of God, right? We feel connected to all things because, as we know, as metaphysicians, there's only one life, and that life is God's life, and that life is perfect, and that life is our life now. So the word solstice has Latin roots. It comes from a word that means of soul. Soul means sun, and sistere means to stand still, to be firm, which kind of lends itself to a really good metaphor for us. We can use summer solstice as a marker to remind us of the value of the pause, of the standing still for a moment. Because the sun looks like it's standing still in the sky. We can use it to remind us the value of the pause and the rest between our thoughts and our activities and our actions, to stand firm in the light, to pause or rest in our source, in the energy of, or the light of spirit. There's something sacred in that pause. It's very prayerful. It's in that pause that we're free to choose. It's in the pause that we can decide to respond from the divine impulse of life for our own betterment and the betterment of the world, or to let the world inform that pause. But standing in the source, standing in the light, helps us to express that movement in the world, and to use that creative moment or movement for its highest purpose. And that's the title of today's talk. It's Higher Heights. And we do that when we pray, right? We first establish ourselves in the energy, the felt experience, the higher vibration of the divine presence, and our oneness with it. And then from this oneness, we get to declare our truth of the higher vibration into law. And many spiritual traditions use language that suggests the divine is higher. Heaven is above, hell is below. But higher, from a metaphysical perspective, doesn't mean a higher physical position or location. It suggests a higher vibration of energy because, as we know, everything is energy, and energy vibrates at different rates. And I was reminded that in his book, Power versus Force, David Hawkins writes about the different levels of consciousness that are either empowering or disempowering depending on their vibration. And so I looked it up. And at the top of the list of his map of consciousness is enlightenment. And under that is peace. And under that is joy and love, in that order. I would have thought that love would be at the top, but I can see how peace and joy vibrate even at the level of love. You can feel it. And then in his map of consciousness, he gets down to some more neutral states. And right smack dab in the middle is courage, because I can see how courage would be, it takes courage to meet the challenge and that strength to kind of pull us up. I can see how it would be in the middle. And at the very bottom of the chart is shame, guilt, apathy. Honestly, just saying the words, I can feel the difference in the energy that they carry. Can you feel that? And these states of consciousness have their own vibration and resonance. And the ones that vibrate at a higher rate feel a lot better. I mean, where would you rather be, guilt or joy? I think that's a no-brainer. So lately, I've been diving into the Science of Mind textbook a lot. We were talking about that at our board meeting on Thursday evening, how we've all read Holmes and the Science of Mind book for so many years, but somehow every time we go back and read it again, we hear something, we feel something that we've never heard before. And I tend to think it's not the words that we're reading, but just an indication of how we've grown and expanded on our own personal spiritual journeys. But whatever it may be, it's really kind of a delightful mystery. So I went searching for what Holmes had to say about higher states. And I found this pretty cool quote. So this is from Holmes. I can't remember the page. I can look it up if you like. There are different mental depths and heights from which we may look out upon life. From whatever level we look, that which we see comes back to us by an invariable law of attraction. We arrive at a consciousness of unity only in such degree as we see that what we are looking for, we are looking with and looking at. Heaven and hell are states of consciousness. Whatever we are looking for, we are looking with and looking at. I love that. What I really clearly hear him saying here is that consciousness, the consciousness that we look from, our perspective, is what determines what we see in the world. If we look through the eyes of lack and limitation, then that's what we will surely see and experience. And if we look from a consciousness of limitless good and possibility and a trust in life, then that's surely what we'll see and experience. Higher heights is a state of consciousness. And it's up to us, through those moments of pause, by standing still in the light of the sun, in the light of our source, to create a pattern of thinking and feeling and being, to generate a state of consciousness that vibrates at that higher level, the consciousness of heaven. And as we become more and more familiar with these higher vibrations through our spiritual practices, through meditation, spiritual mind treatment, being in spiritual community, like right now, being in service, giving, receiving, practicing gratitude, blessing all things. We did that in a meditation this morning. Whatever practice that supports us to feel that higher vibration of the divine presence. And the more familiar we become with this higher state of consciousness, the easier it is for us to take it out into our daily lives. Because as we have all experienced, I'm sure, the world tends to come at us from all directions, and it tries to tell us who we are. But if we are so grounded in our own spiritual reality that we already know who we are in God, we're much less tempted to believe anything other than what Spirit has already seeded within us, within our being, within our soul. And there's a great story that illustrates this idea that what we see and experience in our lives comes from the state of consciousness we see from. Actually, Wayne Dyer used to tell a version of the story. This one's a little different. But the story goes that a stranger walks into a little mom and pop corner store to pick up some bread and some milk. And when he got to the cash register, the clerk says, "Oh, new in town?" And the man says, "Yep, just moved here with my family." And extending his hand out, the clerk says, "Well, then let me be the first to welcome you." And the man says, "Thanks." And he shook the clerk's hand. And then the man asked the clerk, "So what are the people like in this town?" And the clerk says, "Well, what were they like in the town where you just left?" And he said, "Oh, they were fantastic. Friendly, upbeat, generous. We hated to leave." And the clerk says, "Well, I know what you mean." He said, "I think that's pretty much what you're going to find here too." And so the man left. And then a few days later, another stranger walks into the store. And just like the first man, he picked up a few staples and he headed to the cash register. And pretty much the same conversation took place. The clerk welcomed the man to town, and the new guy asked, "So what are the people like in this town?" And the clerk said, "Well, what were they like in the town where you lived last?" And the man says, "Well, not great. They were cold and aloof and selfish. We were really glad to get out of there." And the clerk shook his head in agreement and said, "I know what you mean. I'm afraid that's pretty much what you're going to find here too." So yeah, we see and experience from what we see from. And the more we cultivate a state of oneness with the divine presence and we see from that perspective, the more love and joy we'll experience in our lives. Because, as I am always want to say, we demonstrate who we are. We demonstrate who we are. Not what we think we want to be, but who we really are, and that state of being that we live from. And also at our recent board meeting, I was relaying my frustration. No, that's not exactly right. I relayed my challenge. In staying in that higher state of consciousness and at the same time still being aware of what's going on in the world around me. Because it is really my firm belief that at my point of individualized consciousness, I'm contributing. I am making a difference. I am contributing to the collective consciousness of all mankind. And I believe I make a powerful contribution and impact by what I'm holding at my point of consciousness. And so, to the best of my ability, I try to hold that higher state of heights, that's higher state of consciousness, and to think compassionately about anyone in any situation that comes into my mind. And yet, as a person who practices, teaches, and lives the science of mind philosophy, I also feel that we can't ignore the tragic events that are going on in the world around us. And I also feel that it's my responsibility to give a voice of strength and protection for those among us who are vulnerable and suffering, no matter where they are, or no matter what their race or their religion or their politics or their nationality or their gender or their age. And I feel that to some degree, it's my responsibility to keep the focus on those who are in need, who are in dire or even traumatic circumstances. It draws to mind the wars in the world right now, so that they're not forgotten or swept under the rug as the news cycle goes on to something new. So it's up for me to figure out, how do I hold both of these perspectives safely within me at the same time? What's a metaphysician to do? I want to stay in those higher vibrations, but I don't want to forget the people who aren't there. So I've been sitting with that. And I began to think about the state of being of compassion, which Ralane talked about. Oh, how usual. And I know I've shared this before, but my definition of compassion is being able to be present with someone in love, no matter what their challenge, and at the same time hold the space, the state of consciousness, for what is possible for them in the mind of God, within that infinite potential of the divine presence, which is within them. And compassion is not just wishing and hoping some power outside a person or a situation will grant some special gift or miracle to improve a person's life or a situation. The gift has already been given. It's already in you. It's already present. So compassion is being present with what is, and at the same time, knowing that what is needed has already been given. Does that make sense? It already exists within the person, the situation, the organization, whatever it is. Compassion is holding the vibration of peace, of well-being, of harmony, of intelligence, of order, grace, joy, love. And knowing that we can vibrate at that higher level and at the same time be present with what has already demonstrated the situation that we want to change. And I understand the challenge that's faced by the person, but know the potential that is within them, within God, within all of us. And those two positions are not mutually exclusive. I can be present with the challenge in the person and hold the greater truth and the greater vibration. So that was my answer. This is how I hold these two perspectives safely within me at the same time. And I had this kind of aha moment. And I remembered a book that had been gifted to me years ago. And I love it when this happens, and it's called The Gentle Art of Blessing. And it was written by a man named Pierre Pradervant. I think he's from Switzerland, as I recall. I thought he was French, but I think he's from Switzerland. And a blessing is the art of being spiritually present in a way that acknowledges and supports the spiritual energies and resources that are already in the person, or the situation or the organization or anything else for that matter. A blessing is generated within us from our own God self and our desire to be the presence of love and to be in service. And the capacity to bless is innate in all of us. All that is required is a loving heart and the intent to serve and help others. It's a recognition that we're one with the recipient of our blessing within this larger wholeness of life. Anyone can give a blessing anytime, anywhere, to anyone or anything. And there isn't really anything complex about giving a blessing. We stand in that sacred pause that the solstice reminds us of. We stand in who we are in that sacred pause. We turn within. We acknowledge and connect with our own innate God self, the presence and power of love and peace. And we recognize that this is also the truth for the person or the thing or the situation that we're offering our blessing to, and that we're one. And in this unity, we resonate at the vibration of good together for both of our highest good. And you know what? It not only helps the recipient in the moment that we're offering the blessing, but it leaves them or the situation, whatever it is, more capable of holding the truth for themselves. It strengthens the inherent sacredness and wholeness that's already there. And a blessing can be as simple as extending the flow of loving energy from our heart to another or to a particular situation. There really isn't anything complicated about it. And I think that's why I love it so much. It's so simple. We can do it always. And in his book, Prattervand says, what does he say? I'm going to give his definition of blessing because I thought it was really good. Sorry, I should have had this pulled up. He said, by blessing, I mean wishing, I love this, wishing, I would go further than wishing, from the bottom of the heart in total sincerity, the very best for people, their complete fulfillment and deepest happiness. Well, anyone could do that. As I sometimes do, I look for a video of the author, Pierre Prattervand, on YouTube, and I found this interview, and it was really interesting. What an interesting guy. He's quite old. I don't know when he wrote this book, but he's probably in his 90s, I would guess. And he was telling a story about a time right after the Ukraine war began. And he was having all these intense feelings of hate for Vladimir Putin. And he recalled that he suddenly stopped him and said, oh, wait, this isn't going to change anything. Putin being surrounded by feelings of hate, that's not going to change him. Love is what transforms. And he said that from that point on, every time he thought about the war or Putin, he would offer a blessing for the situation, for Putin. Wow, I just thought that was beautiful. And it really reminded me, and I said this in the meditation too, of the teachings of Jesus. There's a line in the Bible in Matthew 5:43, where it's from Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And he says, love your enemies, bless them that curse you. Bless them that curse you. I can do that. I can hold that space. I can be acknowledging the situation and what needs to be transformed and hold it higher. That's a powerful practice. It doesn't help to push against anything. And instead of fighting fire with fire or hate with hate, let's not fight at all. Blessings rise above the personalities and the circumstances, and they go directly to truth. It's transformative. It's sort of like a little mini shortcut science of mind treatment. And and there's all different kinds of ways that we can bless. Sometimes the situation may just call for a blessing of action, and sometimes that's just super obvious. What's needed: food, shelter, time, energy, money, a kind act. And we can do that, but we have to wisely consider our actions. Because, I'm thinking of my son and his addiction. Sometimes it wasn't helpful to help. But a lot of times that's just what's needed. And sometimes a blessing can just be simply sharing our spiritual or mental or emotional energy, just a little boost of energy. I seem to do that a lot with my daughter. Words of wisdom, just being a friend, help in the face of a challenge. And sometimes we can bless a space, a new home, a church, a new enterprise, a project, a business. Everything is woven into the fabric of God's creation. So everything is energy, and that energy can be lifted and enhanced by our presence and what we hold for it. So I'm alive with blessing everything right now. So however or whenever we choose to bless someone or something, we can know that we all have within us a natural and innate capacity to offer a blessing because we're one with all of life. And when we bless others, we bless ourselves, and invariably we change the world. So there you have it, this simple little thing that we can do to hold both these places. So let's do a blessing. Let's say a prayer. Moving into that space of oneness, knowing that God is the energy and the vibration of love and joy and peace and enlightenment. Oh, I know for us on this call, I know for all life, for everyone and everything in the universe, that we are uplifted and enhanced by the energy of what is within each and every individual expression of the divine. That together we transform the universe into a place of absolute peace and love, where all beings are safe, loved, comforted, provided for, and joyous. So I just know this is true because it is true in me, it is true in you, it is true in all life. I sit in that in deep gratitude. Ah, I feel its truth. I release it into law. I know all is well. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. So I've been walking around blessing everything. It's so simple. It makes so much sense to me. And remember, I don't know if you remember all you board members that are on that was my question at the board meeting. How do you do that? Where's the juxtaposition between what is and what you want to be? Simple blessing. So, Rob, are you doing that? I don't remember. Who's doing the conscious giving?
I don't think so, but if it comes to it, I'm up for it.
Okay. I might be
It,
Lisa.
it might be Lisa.
I didn't think it was.
In that case, it's me.
Okay,
whether or not.
we'll go
Sometimes
with
it's
it.
you. Sometimes it's you, Michelle. But
I
I will
know,
take
and
it on.
sometimes I forget. You know what? I'm trying to open the ways to give, and it's
Hey, same here. So this is our time of giving, and
I'm trying to open it, but it's not responding to me.
yeah. Well, in the meantime,
Yeah.
interesting story yesterday. I've been had a credit card that I haven't used in years, and suddenly somebody charged something against it, and which is, you can deal with that, but it's a hassle. And so I'm dealing with the credit card company, and they're being pretty nice about it. Oh, we'll credit it, and then we'll sort it out later, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And while I was in there, I haven't used this credit card for years. I happened to notice this, this cash back feature that cards have. There was $565 sitting in that account, and so I figured, well, that's kind of like unexpected income or unscheduled income. So I can tithe on that. And then I got this idea that, well, maybe there's money in other credit cards. So I started looking around. I'm up to $1,700. So I'm
Oh
going to
my
tithe on that.
gosh.
I'm going to tithe on that, and that's good for everybody, especially me. In any event, if you're so inclined that you'd like to give to One Heart, One Mind, most of us give on Venmo, but you can send a check, and lots of people do that too, and that's always appreciated. There's the address, so it gets to the right place. And
And
that
then,
being said, just going
yep,
to.
I'm changing. Here we go. It finally opened for me. It wasn't opening.
And here we go, our sacred giving affirmation. Everything flows from the nature of God's good. We give and receive from this flow in gratitude and love. We rest in the infinite giving nature of spirit. And so it is.
So it is. Woohoo! Well, let's see. Pretty much what's happening is our usual stuff. We're doing our Monday prayer. Oh, this afternoon I'm doing that point a discussion panel. If you're in the area, it's down at the Poway Community Church. We have our Monday evening prayer group as per usual at 6 o'clock. And then on Tuesday, we're going to start. I sent out the reading for that book, Think and Grow Rich, which is a spoof on the old classic Think and Grow Rich. But it's from Pam Grout, and she's funny and uplifting and kind of hysterical when I was reading, and she always makes me laugh. And we were going to try and do something kind of upbeat and fun this summer. So I found that and I sent out the reading. So that should be fun. And then no, there's no prayer group this week because Ralane just did it. It's the first and the third Wednesday of every month. So the first Wednesday of July, whenever that may be, I don't really know. Let's see, it would be the third. So I just looked. So the next Wednesday morning prayer group will be on the 3rd, and that's at 10 o'clock. And then we're going to have our joint meeting, our joint Sunday service on July 7th with OM Center for Spiritual Living. And that will be on Zoom too. And because, you know, our techie Reverend Suzette, she's got it all. So, and Rob's going to be the practitioner. That'll be fun. And I think that's about it. And as Rob suggested, continue to do unexpected income. That's always fun. Keep the pump primed. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So let's see, I'll come back to you for the benediction, Rob, and then I've got one last song to play.
And so I'm up.
Yeah, Rob.
So be it. So be it. I'm at bat. And being there in this space, sitting here, feeling the goodness that is all around, feeling the goodness that is all that is, feeling the gratitude that I am in this warmth, in this love. And I am knowing that everyone on this call feels it too, feels the goodness, feels the joy that radiates continuously, second by second by second, year by year, from the source, which is God. And in this space, I am so grateful for the goodness, the good that we can feel. And I'm so grateful for what has transpired here today, for the message that we've received, for the really wonderful music that we've enjoyed, and for the whole vibe of this opportunity to come together, to feel oneness, to feel how good life can be, and to know in our hearts that things are only going to get better because that's how God works. Thank you, God. I release this word, and together we say, and so it is.
So it is beautiful. Thank you so much. And here's some music. This is Jan Garrett and JD Martin. Very simple.
All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. I am walking through the green pastures, and I know that I'm not alone. The song of the meadowlark sings to my soul, tenderly calling me home. And all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. And all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. La, na, 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 na. and walking beside the still waters, as fresh as the breeze at dawn. The voice of my ancestors whispering, giving me the strength to carry on. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well, and all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. Surely goodness and mercy will follow, and love will be leading the way. Every shadow will shine in the fullness of time, and bloom in the hearts of the brave. And all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All manner of things shall be well.
All manner of things shall be well. I thought that was a lovely little cap to the service. Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed putting that talk together with the whole blessing thing. That was a lot of fun for me. I really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys did too. Does anybody want to say anything? Just pop on. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
There we go. It's just going to be really fast. Just an impression I got while you were talking about blessing things. I was thinking of Oprah going, "You get a car, you get a car." Michelle's up there going, "You get a blessing, you get a blessing." And I think that's a great way to live. So thank you for that, and thank you, Ralane, for I didn't know nothing about Kuan Yin, and it's something I'm going to research that because that's a pretty neat story. So thank you for that, and that's all I got to say.
Well, have a nice, cool afternoon in Oceanside. And tell all the Oceanside people I said hello. Yeah, anybody else want to say anything? Marcia.
Oh, I loved your talk. It was, you know what? I think we can add blessings to the list of spiritual practice. Pretty please, you want to turn off the camera?
Not
What
getting-
camera? Huh,
What does that mean?
I don't know.
The recording, Martha, Michelle.
Oh, the recording. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. I totally